toesies like this. You grab your little baby toesies if they like to get left behind, and you just sit. If this is a little bit too rough for you, you can lean all the way forward, find your comfy spot and stretch up your feet and into your toesies. And at the same time, we can pop our hands on the floor and stretch out the hands and the wrists. And then lift up, and then you put your hands on the opposite side, push down, have your arms straight, 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 feel like you're lifting under your armpits, and just push your arms towards the floor so that you're feeling a stretch up the forearms, so it's coming up this area here. If you release that, and then we're going to stretch the tops of our feet. So turns out that some people struggle with this. So you can use your hands to help push you up, or you just make sure you're tucking your hips under, sucking your baby backwards, and you lift onto the tops of your feet. Strength and stretching the tops of your feet. Everyone feeling that? Excellent. This is fun. It's convenient to have a Android like ear, so I've got you like right in my head. Come back onto your knees, lean forward, and again go onto your toesies. Get your little baby toesies if they got left behind. Just stretch that out. Make sure you're keeping your hips tucked under, keeping your belly nice and strong. Again, if this sitting on top of your feet is too intense, you can lean forward, you can pop your hands down. I think I've just lost my Bluetooth connection, so now I don't get to hear everybody in my head real well. And back up again. Lean back. And then we can come up onto our feet, and I don't know whether you lose sight of half my body, but we're just focusing on the feet anyway. So we're walking up and down, focusing on getting up onto those toesies. And then we're going to lift the foot up onto your tippy toes, and then over into the front of the foot. So this is stretching the front of the foot and the front of the toes. And the other side, up onto your toesies and forward. Back up and down. Other foot, up onto your toesies and forward. Back up and down. Other foot, up onto your toesies and lean forward. And come back down. Okay, so I think it's about 1:15 nicely, so we can start for realsies. So depending on how your body's at, you might want to grab a cushion or a pillow to help you sit comfortably. Sometimes I use a little meditation pillow, and you just pop it under your bum, and then it helps you sit like this quite comfortably, and there's no aching or pain or misery happening in the body. But if you don't need it, then you can leave it off, and hopefully that's not blocking anything. Okay, so I'm not going to start with breathing and relaxation today because it's chilly. I'd rather get right into it and get us warm and active. So we're just going to start off warming up the body. I think I've got quite a few newbies joining us today, so all I would suggest is remember to keep your breathing going. Sometimes it's nice to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, because it makes you remember to keep breathing, especially when we're holding some of the poses and it's getting maybe a little bit sore or you're a little bit tight. You breathe, because the more you breathe, the more you trick your body into relaxing. So that's what you want to think about. Okay, we're starting off making sure you're tucking your hips under, lifting the belly, so this part of your abdomen is feeling nice and strong, and you're also feeling like the back, your lower back, is being pulled backwards, and then you lengthen up. Okay, so then we're going to be placing one hand, let's all do the right hand on the floor, left hand, you imagine you're scooping something up from the earth, and you're pulling it up, and pulling it over, and then lengthening it towards the wall or whatever's on the side of your hand. So pulling it towards the right side anyway. And you want to keep this left hip down. You don't want your bum to lift as you're lifting up and over. So if this is quite rough for you, you can keep your arm up and stretch. And then obviously you can go further down if it's not so bad. I don't know everybody's flexibility level at the moment. So you should be feeling a nice side stretch, pulling down the side of your body, going a little bit into your QLs. Remember to breathe. Keep trying to relax your body. And slowly come up. And we go to the other side. Again, remember, if it's a bit rough for you to go onto your forearm, you can keep your arm straight. You scoop up the earth, pulling it up and over. Feel like you're lifting up over a ball and pull over to your left side. Try and stretch a little bit deeper. Keep remembering to breathe and tucking the hips under. And up we come again. We're going to go back to the first side. This time, instead of going straight up and over, we're pulling our body slightly towards the corner, so it's getting deeper into the QL stretch. So instead of pulling backwards here, we're leaning slightly forward, sternum's starting to twist towards our knee. And you keep feeling like your arms being pulled long, 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 long. And now you're going to slowly, iteratively start turning towards the other knee. So very, very slow. Keep pulling that arm so it's stretching, 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 stretching. As you get towards the middle, the other arm joins, being pulled long. Keep tucking the hips under so that your bum stays on the floor. Then your left arm goes towards the left knee. And you keep pulling, 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 pulling along until you're at that slight arm towards the corner. Hello? And here, what happened there? Okay, and you keep pulling, 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 stretch, stretch, stretch. And you can come up. Now we're going to take our hands in front of us, interlacing our fingers. You turn them away from you, making sure that your shoulders stay down and relaxed, and lift your arms up towards the ceiling, tucking the hips down towards the floor and feeling your arms pulling up towards the ceiling. You don't want your shoulders ending up coming with you. You want to keep the shoulders down, but the arms are pulling up. And release and shake out the hands. Okay. We're going to do some neck stretches as well. So I like to sit on my knees for this just because it's comfy for me. If you like it, come join me. Otherwise, you can stay in your easy seat position. So the neck is one of those places that we tend to neglect. So these exercises help release some of the neck strain, especially for those working on computers and hunching over their desks all day. And then it also creates a little bit of strength and whatnot. So let's go through it. So we'll start again with the right side. So you take your right hand, you grab the left side of your head. You imagine that you're using your hand to pull this head, and you're pulling it up and over an imaginary tennis ball. So you don't want your head crunching down onto the shoulder. You're lifting it up and over, feeling a nice stretch coming down the left side of your neck. Now for a deeper stretch, we're going to take our left arm, feel like it's being pulled away from us, and then scoop it around behind us. And that gets a deeper stretch up and down the neck and a little bit into the shoulder. And release the left arm. Now you're going to take your chin towards your right armpit. Again, you're holding your head and you want to create a bit of tension. So your hand is pulling your head gently and your head is gently pulling up against your hand. And then you're lifting over that imaginary tennis ball, up and over towards your armpit. So you're not dropping the chin down into your your chest, lifting up and over. Make sure you keep tucking your hips under, using your tummy muscles. Release. Now we'll do our other side. So now left hand is grabbing the right side of our head. We're lifting up and over that imaginary tennis ball. And make sure you're keeping your hips tucked under, lifting up nicely in the body so you're not hunching over. Release, allowing to you, and take your free arm, feel like it's being pulled away from you and wrap it around the back, getting a deeper stretch. Now you can release the right arm, and now we're going to do the chin into our left armpit. Again, remember, hand is pushing against your head is pushing against your hand, you're lifting over your imaginary tennis ball and pull your head towards your armpit. Keep your hips tucked under. Release. Okay, then this is a fun exercise to do. So just turn your head towards your left shoulder, just as far as you can go without hurting yourself or feeling a little bit of strain. Then turn your head towards your right shoulder. Check again. You're just kind of clocking where you can get to without your neck feeling like, oh, I'm dying. Okay, and then we're going to go adequately fast like a tortoise. And we're going to start turning towards our left shoulder, but so slow. It's very, very iterative. Then you're going to go as far as you can without causing strain. So it's almost like just as you feel your neck going, you stop. And then you start turning towards the other side. Very, 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 very slow. And we make our way to the other side if you haven't already started. And back to the first side as slow as you possibly can. And back to the second side. Relax, and now you're going to test out for yourself, did you get any better? So you're turning to your left side, can you go further without your neck hurting? Over to the other side, can you get further without your neck hurting? I'm hoping you all managed to get further, because it's always exciting seeing that actually that slow movement has huge effects on the body if we just take our time. Okay, so we're going to get warm now and start with a sort of basic sun salutation. I never end up sticking to a normal one, but let's see how it goes. So you're going to stand up and go to one side of your mat. Doesn't matter which side you start at. I'm hoping everyone can still see me relatively. What you want to focus on, and I'm running backwards to show everyone in the camera, you want to think about rooting your feet down into the ground. So you want to see or feel the knuckles of your feet, the side of your foot, and the back heel on the floor, but you're lifting the arch. Now you do that by standing on the feet, obviously, but then you feel like your legs are trying to pull apart, and that lifts nicely in the arch. And feel like you're pressing down on the knuckles of your feet. From there, we're going to move up the legs. You want to feel like these quad muscles, it's not like they're working super hard, but they're not chilling here either. They're lifted slightly, and then the knees turn slightly out. So that makes your hip turn into its socket nicely, and also gets you activating your bum muscles, which is obviously a nice good thing as well. Then you're tucking your hips under, feeling like you're getting these tummy muscles working, so they feel like they're zipping up. Your chest is in a nice relaxed position, and you feel that relaxed position when you exhale out. That is a relaxed chest, but you're activating these muscles in between the ribs just here. So you get into then you rotate your shoulders into their sockets so that the rhomboids, or here by your shoulder blades, are pulling down slightly. So that's activating the shoulders nicely. Right, that's our standing position. Then we're going to take our arms and we're going to lift them up towards the ceiling, pulling long. Squeeze the bum. Feel like your legs are trying to pull apart the mat. And then you're going to swan dive, taking the arms down to the sides, all the way down into a forward fold. You can grab your ankles if you want, and this is again, suck your belly, suck your belly, suck your belly. So what happens here is you struggle often, almost because your tummy is hanging out. So the more you tuck your hips under, and you feel like you're sucking your tummy back, like you're trying to take a false inhalation, you can actually get closer to your legs. Then we're going to place our hands on the floor, and if you can't quite get that, you're going to bend your knees. Then we're going to take our right leg back into a lunge. So in this lunge position, I want you to be squeezing the bum of the straight leg, and then you're pushing down into the earth with your bent leg. So essentially you shouldn't need your hands to hold you up here. So you're keeping yourself quite strong. It's not a relaxed position where everything's dropping. It's strength stretching. Now we're going to keep this feeling of strength. The tummy is lifting, the coccyx are tucking under, and now you're going to try and get your straightened hip towards the floor, but you're keeping strong. How's everyone doing? Yay, Claire. Okay. Now we're going to push down with our hands. You want to feel a lift in the armpits, and you're pushing down so that even your sternum lifts up slightly. That gives you a little bit more space to take your left leg back into your plank position. You're squeezing your bum. It's not chilling, it's squeezing. And then you want to make sure that your elbows stay in, they don't pop out, stay in as you lower yourself. If it's too hard to lower yourself, drop your knees down and lower yourself to the floor. Now you're lying straight on the floor. You want to feel the tops of your feet pushing down into the ground. Tuck the hips under, lift the tummy. Keep your chin tucking towards your chest as you push up into a cobra position, and feel like your sternum is being pulled forward. Then you unfold your neck and lengthen. The bum should be working, you should be pushing these legs gently into the floor. Tuck your toes and feel like a string's pulling your coccyx up into your downward facing dog. Take a little bit of a step forward, especially if you're long. Now if you struggle with your downward facing dog, you can actually bend your knees and feel more like you're lengthening up through the back and the shoulders. Then as you feel more stable, you can slowly start straightening the legs. Keep the tummy lifted and push the shoulders away. Your shoulders shouldn't be sitting at your ears, they should be lengthened. Then we're going to bring our right leg forward. So we do this in a bit of a kitty jump. So you bend your knees, lean back. Now you bounce your bum up and down, and then bounce forward with your right leg. Once you're here, again, you want to get to that nice strength position. So the hips are tucking under, this bum muscle is working, you're pushing down this bent leg, and then you're going to start feeling that drop of the hip towards the floor. Then you lift back up, and you bring both feet together, and you hang in your forward fold. Keep sucking your belly back towards your spine. And then you sweep the hands up as you come back up into your standing position, and your arms are being pulled long, long, long. Squeeze the bum, tuck the hips under. And your hands can come into your prayer position, or you can flop them down to the floor. Your choice. I'm starting to cook, so I'm taking my top off quick. Ooh la la. Okay, let's do our second round. I hope everybody's coping, nobody's dying yet. Okay, so again, remember to root. These knees turn slightly out, your bum gets activated, your hips are tucking under, shoulders are rotating into their sockets, so the rhomboids are pulling down slightly. Let's take our hands up towards the ceiling, pulling long, 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 and then we go into our swan dive forward. Grab your ankles, pull your sternum towards your legs. Place your hands on the floor, bend your knees if you need to. This time left leg goes back first. Okay, this time it's slightly different. We're going to start dropping our knee towards the floor. Now you're pushing down on your front foot so that you can lift up and place your hands interlocked on your knees. And you want to feel these hips tucking under nicely, so you push your hands into your knees as you tuck under the hips. And then you try and lean forward. Hip flexor stretch deluxe. Keeping the tummy strong, should be feeling your whole belly working. Now coming back up, and we're going to lean backwards. You want to think about your sternum coming towards your shin. And it's important to think about sternum because often what we'll do is we'll curl over into a little ball makisi, which looks like we're like super flexy. But in fact, we want to be feeling a lengthening up the spine, pulling towards us, our shin. So now my back is nice and lengthened, and I'm getting a deeper hammy stretch here. And slowly move forward, pushing down towards the floor with this hip. So you're really getting into the hip flexor stretching. Lean, 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 keeping the hips tucked under, belly sucking back. And lean back. Sternum towards your shin. And lean forward one last time. Forward, pushing your left hip flexor towards the floor, keeping your hips tucked under, use your bum muscles. And lean back one last time, sternum pulling towards your shin. Come forward, up into our lunge position. Place your hands on the floor, push down. If you aren't looking at me, take a moment to look. In our downward facing dog, you want to think about these shoulders rotating out, so the soft parts of your elbows are trying to face forward, and then you lift your chest, push yourself back, and the arms are rotated. This is a nice lengthened position. Your head can relax, it's not doing anything. Shoulders are not doing funny things, or arms are not pouncing out to one side. You're lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. Remember, if you struggle with this, bend the knee. Now we're going to do our kitty pounces and get the left leg forward into our lunge position. So you pounce, 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 and lift. Then we're going to drop our right knee to the floor. Keep your back thumb squeezed. You're rotating your hip. The inwards motion is forward, but you're squeezing your bum to support that hip nicely. Lean forward, keeping your tummy active, tucking your hips under. Then lean backwards. You straighten your leg. Come on. Too much. Okay, sternum pulling towards your shin. And lean forward, pushing your hip, the leg that's behind you, pushing that hip down towards the floor. Tuck your hips under, suck your belly back towards your spine. And lean back. Sternum towards your shin. Keep trying to lengthen the spine. You don't want to curl into a ball on the kissy. And then lengthen, pulling that sternum as if it's trying to reach your ankle. Lean forward one last time. Keep squeezing your back bum, trying to push that hip closer towards the floor. And lean back one last time, sternum being pulled towards your shin. Come back forward, lift the back leg into that lunge position. Make sure you're tucking your hips under and you bring both feet to the front and hang in your forward fold. Keep sucking your belly up towards your spine. And we scoop the energy up, lifting our arms up to the ceiling, pulling long, and you can bring your hands back into that prayer position. Well done, guys. I think we're all nice and warm now. At least I am. Okay, so we're going to work on these little bum muscles in here. If your bum goes into a little bit of a spasm, just stretch it out. You'll be okay. Spasms happen often when our muscles are weak. So I'm not going to use any props, but I'm going to show you which props you can use should you have some at home, and even if you don't, there's always a substitute. So if you've got a belt or something that you can use to create tension, that's all you're basically wanting to do. So I've got these exercise bands that are great for creating that tension, and like I said, you don't have to have them. If you want to use them to strengthen your bum muscles a little bit more, bands are thebarn.com. Okay, so we're going to start off. You imagine that you're lounging on the beach and you pop your, what is it? It's not the forearm, it's the upper part of your arm on the floor. But you want to be making sure that your entire body is straight on the floor on your side. So you're going to be using your tummy muscles to help you with your balance. But if you're feeling unbalanced, you can place your one arm on the floor in front of you just to help you stay up. Then we're going to flex our feet. And the first exercise, it's so super simple, but bear with me and just do as many as I tell you to, because by the time we get to the second leg, you could be dead. Okay, so we're going to take our leg up and down, not too high, maybe I don't know, is that a 30-degree angle, somewhere around there, and you keep pushing your hips forward, squeezing the bum muscles, and down, and up. This is number 2, and down, and up, number 3, down, and up, 4, down, and up, 5, down, and up, 6. Come down. Then you're going to bring your knees up. You want them sort of hip in line with knees, knees in line with ankles. You're trying to get into a 90-degree angle here. Okay, and then we're going to lift our legs up. Make sure that the knee and the ankle stay in line. I've seen people just lift the ankle, I've seen people just lift the knee. We're doing knee and ankle together. They come up. Keep tucking your hips under and lifting in the tummy, and down. That's 1. Up, 2, and down. Up, 3, and down. Up, 4, and down. Up, 5, and down. Up, 6, and down. Then you're going to lift your leg, and you're making a circular motion with your foot. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles, and back down. Straighten your body again. Lift the leg. And now this is, I call it a Sierra move, but you're moving your whole leg from your hip. It's not a foot moving up and down. It's your whole leg twisting in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Is everyone burning? Thank you. And relax back down. Hashtag dead. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. Okay, remember to keep the feet flexed. You keep lifting in the belly, tucking your hips under, bum squeezing, and we lift the top leg up and down. 2, and down. 3, and down. 4, and down. 5, and down. 6, and down. Then the legs. Again, you're creating your 90-degree angles, so your hip is in line with your knee, knees in line with your ankles, and we lift up and down. Keep tucking the hips under, sucking the belly back, up and down. This is 3, and down. 4, and down. 5, and down. 6, and down. Straighten your legs. Lift the top leg, and we Sierra. Keep going. Just twist from the hip. And relax. Now we're going to stretch those muscles because that was fierce, bro. Okay, so what you'll do is, I don't think you can sit me that way. Okay, so we take our right leg straight out in front of us, and the left leg, you take the foot out as far as it needs to go. You're going to have to test it. So you're dropping this knee towards the floor, and you want your ankle in line with your knee. And you should be feeling a stretch in the hip capsule. You can place your hands back, and you just keep tucking your hips under, and see how that goes. Don't go too deep, so you just want to feel a gentle stretch, because otherwise you're going to suffer tomorrow. Hello! And relax that leg, and take the other leg into that same position. Ankle and knee in line with each other. And release. Hopefully that helped those little inner hips release a bit. Okay, so we're going to do a forward fold. So our feet are nice and flexed. Your legs are trying to push down towards the floor, but you're trying to find that balance point where it's not pushing down too hard and you're not completely relaxed. It's that in-betweensy space. Then you're tucking your hips under, sucking your belly back towards your spine, like it's being pulled backwards. Your arms being lifted up high so you can see the scapula actually extends. And you lift up. Imagine there's a ball sitting on your lap. Lift up and over. Try and grab your feet. If it's not possible to grab your feet yet, you grab your shins, lower down, your ankles, wherever it feels comfy. And then you want to try and pull your sternum. Again, I don't want rounded. You want to feel the sternum being pulled towards your feet. Keep sucking the belly back. And slowly come up. Round your shoulder, rotate your shoulders backwards. And rotate your shoulders forwards again. Oh, and my incense is literally trying to give me smoke inhalation. Oh. Okay, from here we're going to take one leg out to the side, so the knee is going outwards, your foot is coming up. You can pop it at your knee, inner thigh, or right into your Foxy bonnet or gentleman bonnet. You tuck your hips under, and you want this knee that's sticking out to be pulling towards the floor, so you're using your bum muscle to pull it down. Then again, you're reaching up, lengthening in the body. Think about the sternum coming down towards that shin, and you pull your body forward. This is getting into the hammy stretches. It might even get into your calf stretching a bit. Keep sucking your belly back. And slowly lift up. And swap legs. Again, you can bring your foot to your knee, your inner thigh, or right up to your Foxy bonnet or gentleman bonnet. This knee is pulling down, so it's actively working towards the floor. Lengthen your body up. Grab your foot or your ankle or your shin and pull your sternum towards your shin. slowly come up. We're then going to bring both our feet together in our butterfly position. You want to feel your feet. It's not that you're getting them right in towards your forksy bonnet, but you want to get a point where you can sort of push them together slightly. You're going to grab your hands around your toesies, and then these knees, you want to feel them pulling towards the floor. So you're actively using your bum muscles. You tuck your hips under, you're sucking your belly back towards your spine, you're rotating your shoulders into their sockets, and again, you think about your sternum being pulled forward. So it's easy to go into a rounded position and then look like you're getting really close to your feet. But the stretch doesn't happen as nicely if you don't have that nice lengthening up the spine. So you keep lengthening, 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 and one day the more you stretch, you'll be able to get your sternum towards your toes. Slowly come up. Okay, from here, I'd like to get us to do some squats. Squats! People say, oh no! But the sooner we get nice, strong legs and bums, speaking about all of us, not just my two bum cheeks, then your hips are supported better, and sort of once you've got this core space in a really good positioning and nicely supported, you find the rest of your body just falls into position much easier. So your hips are in good health, your spine's in good health, your shoulders, your neck, everything starts essentially from this core space. And my ladies in particular, Derek, I can't talk about you, but my ladies in particular, women have a tendency not to ground. And so our legs tend to be our weakest part. So we're doing this for the girls and you, Derek. Okay, so we're getting into our squat positioning. I would like to emphasize how important it is to make sure that our hips are tucked under. So our feet, if you've got your yoga mat out, our feet are in line with the yoga mat. Feet are straight, they're not going outwards or pointing inwards. They are straight next to the mat. You're lifting with your arches. You're making sure that this part of your body, the lower back, is not arching. This gets us nowhere. This doesn't even activate the belly. You need to tuck the hips under. Now my bum's already working. My belly's working. Now you start going down. Pay attention. This is a slow squat. It's not like quick, quick, quick. And you keep your knees over your feet. Keep tucked. You go as far as you can so that you can lift back up again. Don't drop all the way down because there's no strength here. You want to keep going in a strengthened position, and you squeeze the bum, pushing your forksy bonnet forward. Then you drop back down again. Keep tummy lifted. My lower back is not arching. A lot of people will get to a certain point and then they arch. Don't do it. Lift the tummy, tuck under, keep going, up and down. Pull the hips forward as you stand up straight. Tuck the hips under, drop down, drop down, drop down. And lift, squeeze the bum, pull your forksy bonnet forward, and back down. Hold it. Keep the hips tucked under. I hope the legs are wiggling and burning. And slowly, slowly, slowly push forward, hips pushing forward. How's everyone doing? Okay, hot. Let's open up the legs a little bit wider. Now your feet can turn slightly outwards. Remember, we want to keep the knees over the toesies. Don't let the knees drop inwards and be out of alignment. You want to keep them over the feet, dropping down, tuck the hips under, and come into like this standing position. And hold it, my friends. You're going to start squeezing up. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the bum, squeeze the bum. And drop down again. Keep the knees over the feet. Tuck the hips under. And then squeeze up. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And one more. Keep the knees over the feet. Tuck the hips. Don't go into an arch. Tuck under. And squeeze up. You can shake it out. Okay. And we're going to come back onto the floor. So I'm going to be cheeky and use my tools because they're the balm.com. And if anyone has these at home, these mother truckers are the balm.com. But if you don't, we're just doing a V-leg. So you can come sit with your legs, open a V-leg. If you find it a bit difficult, if the hips are a little bit tight, again, grab a cushion. Doesn't have to be a yoga cushion. It could be your pillow cushion, whatever the weather. And you pop it just under your butt. And it helps your hips tuck under. So then it's a much easier position to sit with your V-leg. Then, if you have one of these things, I don't know how many of you have like your at-home gyms going on. Oh, I love these things. They're like magic. Trying to get your V-leg position. You keep tucking your hips under, so I'm actually squeezing my bum, lifting the belly as you lean forward as far as you can. And remember to breathe, because it tricks your body into thinking it's relaxing. Feel like your feet are literally trying to push away from you. So using one of these bands helps because I can literally feel like I'm trying to push the band away. But when you don't have a band, you imagine that you're pushing your feet away. These quads are activating, the bum muscles are activating, the tummy is activating, and you're pushing the legs away and leaning forward. So again, it's not a passive stretch. And the more you breathe and you feel like your body's relaxing a little bit more, you can drop a little bit deeper into the stretch. If you're already feeling maxed out though, don't push yourself. Yoga is not about competition. You're just doing what you can, when you can, how you can. One thing that's nice to note is sometimes in this positioning, your feet actually might drop inwards. Some people do that, or their feet pop out the other way. Try and keep your feet upright, so it's again like they're in line with your knees, in line with their hips, and then leaning. It's just nice alignment. Okay, and now you're going to come back up. So in this one, just moving my cushion out of the way. You're going to be using your arm to push against your knee, or your inner thigh rather, and one of the reasons why we use it to push actively is it actually gives a nice stretch across the scapula as well. So you're going to use that arm to push against your inner thigh. You're going to scoop the other arm up and over towards your foot. Keep pushing and twisting your chest forward, so it's not that your chest is leaning towards the floor. It's opening up to the side and then lengthening. And slowly come up and go over to the other side again. The elbow pushes into the inner thigh. We scoop the air up and over, taking that top arm towards the foot, pushing our body open so that the sternum is facing forward. Feel like somebody's pulling your hand. You should be pulling, actively stretching towards that foot. up we come. Now you can come back into your forward fold position. If you've got a belt or a scarf or a tie lying around, it's great to use that. And you're going to again lift your body up. Feel your hips are tucking under, and then lean with your sternum towards your feet. I think I'm cut off from the camera now. You're really feeling like that sternum is pulling towards the wall. So you're not even trying to get down towards the shin now. You're being pulled, lengthened, long. Feel your scapulas pulling down. And release. Okay, everyone take a 2-second break while I check our time so that I don't go over and end everyone. Okay, we're actually doing really good. Okay, so then, oh yes, I didn't even take you into the really suffering bum stuff. Forgotten about it. Okay, so we're going to get onto our hands and knees. Our first position is our first pose is our cat-cow. So your hands, fingers are nicely spread out in front of you. You feel like most of the pressure is again across the knuckles of the hand and on the flats. So you don't want to be going too much into the fingers. Then you're lifting in the armpits, so you can see the sternum lifts up. Then you're going to be squeezing the bum muscles and keeping the tummy up, even though we're going to be going into an arch. So the tummy is working. Then we're pushing up. You'll see it's mainly the hips that move, and then into the arch. Keeping tummy strong. Up, and into your arch. And up into your arch. Then you're going to come back to a neutral position, so you're imagining that you're in a bit of a tabletop. So the difficulty comes in with this one where you're trying to keep a lot of pressure or a lot of strength on the opposite arm. So when I lift my left leg, I don't want to be lifting over so that I'm tilting to one side. I want to be compensating by putting more strength down my right arm to lift the left leg. Voila, it's the left arm. Both. Okay, so you lift the leg as wide as or as high as you can go and take it back down. Lift and take it back down. Lift and take it back down. Then you're going to take it behind you and back towards your elbow, sucking that belly up. Then behind you, still bent, keeping the tummy strong so you're not arching, keeping everything lifted, and then knee towards elbow. And then back, and knee towards elbow. Then you can take that leg straight back behind you. This is where some balance comes in. So this is the challenge. You don't have to go, I'm going to take it through you iteratively. And so you stop where you can get up to, if that makes sense. So your left leg is straight up behind you. Make sure that you're not opening the hip, but keeping yourself squared. Then the right hand lifts and it feels like it's being pulled towards or forward. And that pulling, lengthening, actually helps you stabilize. Then you want to try and lift the right foot off the floor. Then you can come back down. Ta-da! Now we do the other side. So if you're following me, now we're doing the right leg. So a lot of pressure goes into the right arm. You're keeping your hips tucked under, you're lifting in the chest. The right leg opens up to the side. Don't lean into the left leg. Try and stay very stable. And down. Lift that leg up. And down. Lift that leg up. And down. Take it behind you. And towards your elbow. Tucking the hips under, lifting in the belly. Take it behind you. And up towards your knee, your elbow. And behind you. Take it into your elbow. Straighten that leg out behind you. Straighten your left hand, feel like they're being pulled long, and you try and lift your left foot. Oh, the side is harder. Oh, and there we go. Rest in child's pose for a moment.